Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Jonathan again with the weekly scuffle, and I'm here to talk about Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, the fight that needs to happen in boxing. Probably one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight, at least numbers wise, you could make in boxing right now. And honestly, I think it should happen. I think both fighters don't really have anywhere specific to go because, well, granted, I do believe Ryan Garcia can take a slightly different path. Will he take it? I don't know. And honestly, I think this fight makes sense for both fighters. Loma, Cambosos, and Devin Haney are all stuck in ESPN. They have that deal going on, so that is yet to be seen what will happen there. Then we got Tank and Ryan, who are in PBC and the zone, respectfully, slash Golden Boy. And I think this fight, if the politics doesn't get in the way, both fighters advocate and want this fight, it's gonna happen. It'll be a mega fight, and honestly, I think it's gonna be very, very entertaining to watch. And I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people give it credit for. I think Garcia at 140 is definitely a better fighter than he was at 135 for a couple specific reasons I'll get to later. But I think style makes fights, and I think there's a reason Ryan Garcia is clamoring for this fight. And you know, Tank being a lefty, being shorter than even Fortuna was, it presents a lot of advantages for Ryan, especially with his speed, with his length, and his power. And honestly, I think Tank does still possess a lot of prowess, boxing ability, and power that will affect Ryan Garcia. And honestly, that's why I think this fight will be a match made in heaven, at least for boxing fans. It will be fun to watch, but granted, now I do think Ryan Garcia at 140, he said he's fighting at 140 now. He's not going back down to 135. All right, I honestly feel like this might have been a little bit of an under talked about topic as to why Ryan ducked out of the first Fortuna fight. And yes, of course, the mental health issues, but I do feel like Ryan did definitely struggle with the weight loss, and you could just see that because of what happened in the Luke Campbell fight. He got hit with, yes, a good shot, but granted, Ryan wasn't really hurt. But there is an argument to be made that the reason he got dropped in the first place was because of the weight cutting. We all know that affects fighters in different ways, and it could definitely have affected Ryan's sustainability with his chin. But regardless, I think at 140, Ryan is a bigger fighter, especially at 135. But at 140, he's still one of the bigger fighters, and I think he definitely belongs in this division. You can see his frame is completely built, especially in the Fortuna fight. He looked big. I believe Ryan could probably get up to 168 at one point in his career, and I think he'll be good 4 years to come. But granted, if he does stay at 140 and the Tank Davis fight does not happen, I would love for him to go for one of the belts that Josh Taylor has dropped. I believe that is definitely the move to make. I believe Teofimo Lopez, who's coming back August 13th, is on the path to do that. Teofimo will probably pick up one of the belts that Josh Taylor lost. And honestly, I expect Ryan, if the Tank Davis fight can be made, to probably try to go for the WBC belt. I expect that belt to be the one that Ryan covets. And honestly, I would love to see him fight the winner of Zepeda, and I forgot who else was supposed to fight for that vacant belt. But if he could fight one of them, get that fight happening, I think that would definitely be great for Ryan's career. It'll gain him more respect in the boxing realm as a true champion, someone that earned their belt. And honestly, it'll give him a step up on Tank. Tank hasn't necessarily won a real championship. He's held a lot of the super belts, not necessarily the actual belts themselves. And I think this is definitely something that could work for Ryan, especially in future negotiations, and could just get him more respect in the boxing world. I think at this point he's somewhat underrated. I do think some of the top fighters can definitely give him problems, and a lot of these fights are 50-50. We've already seen Teofimo take a loss, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for him to beat Ryan, Tank, or even Devin. And I think that that's definitely something we could see in the future where a lot of these guys, if they do fight each other, not all of them, maybe none of them will keep their zero if they all fight each other because style makes fights, and not one, you could say, has the clear advantage over the rest. They all definitely have their weaknesses and strengths that they could exploit. But granted, we'll see how all this plays out, and see you next time. Peace.